Welcome everybody to a mini haul video where I have bought 6 films from Criterion because they have recently had a 2 for 30 deal on the likes of Zavi and HMV. There were a mix of different ones from Criterion on either side, so I bought some from one and some from another. But yeah, 2 for 30, and you don't save a massive amount, you're only saving about £6, but because my Criterion collection has been a little bit on the low side, I've only had 15 up until now. Whereas now with these 6 I have 21. And it's I figured it was well worth time to bump up that number. And yeah, now that means I have more than the likes of 88 Films or BFI or even Network with Criterion now. So they've definitely moved up in the rankings in terms of my collection, but they'll never be as big as Eureka or Indicator for my money because they're a little expensive for single releases, and they don't always have something that I want to watch or I'm going to feel like I'll be interested in. So, but yeah, I've seen 5 of these 6, one of which I've bought purely because I've been into my French films a lot lately and figured this will be another good addition to my collection that has been growing in terms of foreign language films, and particularly French. And yeah, so we'll get to that one last. But firstly, we have Being There, a Hal Ashby film starring Peter Sellers. Now, even though this does have some comedy elements into it, this is a far more drama-based film, so it's a little bit different to Peter Sellers' normal stuff. And yeah, as per usual with Criterion, you do get a nice little booklet, but here's the disc itself. So yeah, my problem with Criterion is generally that there's just not enough extras with it for what is ultimately quite an expensive single release. £18 is definitely more than some single releases that you would see from Eureka or Indicator, for instance. And yeah, it's nearly as expensive as some box sets, in fact. But yeah, got all of that going for you. Got all the cast and crew on there as well. So yeah, you also got Shirley MacLaine in this, Jack Warden, Melvyn Douglas, Richard Basehart. So you've got a pretty good cast supporting Peter Sellers, but he is the main draw with this film. And yeah, you've got a write-up called American Cypher by Mark Harris, which is what's on the other side. So yeah, I do like the write-ups and stuff, but it's quite frankly not enough for me to, pay out one go for £18, quite frankly. Although I have done that, not knowing that there was going to be a sale or whatever. But yeah, on the whole, I generally wait for a sale if it's going to come down to Criterion. Then we have The Fisher King from Terry Gilliam, and yeah, starring Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges. 2 really, really good performances from both of those. And yeah, it's like an offbeat comedy drama, but yeah, it's really, really well done. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I know I liked it a lot. Looking back at my review of it and the like on Letterboxd, the only problem I have with this release is that firstly the rating just looks like it's been put there out of, as an afterthought, and then the Criterion label that comes down the side is slightly covering the T. It does feel a little bit, like they didn't realise what they were going to be doing with the overall artwork, but I do like the overall artwork itself. I also like the artwork on the disc itself. And yeah, I really like the poster that they've got going with it as well. Sometimes you get a poster, sometimes you don't. But as per usual, you do get a write-up and the cast and crew and about the transfer and stuff on the back. So yeah, you've got a In the Kingdom of the Imperfect by Bill Cherbury, and then I think that's the only one there, yeah. But then you've got this really rather fantastic poster on the other side, which I really do like. Nice bright colours from a scene from the film. So yeah, that's probably one of my more favourite physical things you get with the Criterion release, is a poster of sorts. So yeah, really rather nicely done. And then we have a classic film noir, They Live by Night by Nicholas Ray. And yeah, this is a fantastic film. It's probably my favourite out of the bunch. And yeah, can't remember what the physical aspect is of this, but we'll see it in a second. Then there's a disc. And yeah, from 1948 this is, only 95 minutes long, so it's not particularly long at all. But yeah, the 2 leads are really, really good in this. Farley Granger and Kathy O'Donnell. Don't think I've seen them in anything else before, but they are really, really good in this. And again, yeah, get right up on the film. What's it called? Dream Journey by Bernard Eisenseitz. I think that's how you say his name. But yeah, then you get all of that on one side and then right up on the other. So yeah, I would prefer a poster with a write-up on the back, but I guess that'll do in its own right. But yeah, pretty damn good film, and yeah, definitely a classic of the film noir genre, quite frankly. Then we have something completely different to that, The Royal Tenenbaums, and I think this is the only film from, is it Wes Anderson? I think, yeah, it is. I think it's the only film from Wes Anderson I actually own. Oh no, I've got Fantastic Mr. Fox even. Yeah, so second film from Wes Anderson that I own. Not the biggest of fans of him, to be honest, but yeah, definitely this is definitely a great film, and yeah, Fantastic Mr. Fox is also a great film, so which is also from the Criterion collection as well, and yeah, I really do love the artwork on this. Looks less of an afterthought like The Fisher King, that's for sure. And you get two pieces of extras with this. First, you get the Tenenbaum House, 111 Archer Avenue. So you get a write-up on the back, but then you get the whole house laid out, because it's pretty much just set in that house. It's really nicely detailed. And there's a write-up of it. Yeah, it's just an excerpt from Wes Anderson there on that back bit. But yeah, really nicely done. And then you get Faded Gloves by Kent Jones. I imagine it's another write-up. And then you've got Chapters, which is not something you see often nowadays in physical releases, where they split the film up into chapters. You used to get that in DVDs and Blu-rays of old, but not anymore by the looks of things. So yeah, massive write-up called Faded Gloves by Kent Jones. Whoa. So quite a lot there, and then you got the transfer, you got the credits, and the cast on this is superb. Gene Hackman, Angelica Houston, Ben Stiller, Gwyneth Paltrow, Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson, Bill Murray, Danny Glover, Alec Baldwin, and I think they're the only ones I really know. But what a cast! And as per usual, Wes Anderson does put them to good use. But then again, also had a fantastic cast in Fantastic Mr. Fox as well. So I guess it's no surprise they had a fantastic cast in that. And then we have the fifth and final one that I have actually seen, The Blob. So yeah, bought The Hunter recently. Also saw Steve McQueen, which was his last film, and I think this was his first film. So yeah, not my favourite 50s, monster film or creature feature or whatever you want to call it, but it is definitely one that kind of set a decent benchmark in terms of special effects. The fact it was in colour, which in terms of creature features from the 50s was not all that common. And you take the Ray Harryhausen ones, for instance, that aren't Sinbad, and they were all in black and white as well. So yeah, but Steve McQueen is pretty good in this. I on the whole honestly prefer the remake from 1988, which was released 30 years after this, but still, it's a pretty decent film, and definitely better than a lot of its contemporaries. Because even though I do like, sci-fi horror from the 50s, there were a lot of misses in that genre during that decade rather than hits. But the hits are usually quite high, and that is about the mid-range, quite frankly. And then finally, the one that I haven't seen yet, Diabolique. Now, yeah, I've heard great things from this, directed by Henri-Georges Clouzot, and yeah, 1955, sounds like a really, really riveting film. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, heard great things. It's got a really good average score on Letterboxd. I think it's like 4.1. So yeah, I've got high expectations for this. And unusually, it's actually a booklet in this instead of the full sheet. So yeah, again, you've got chapters. They're all in French. Oh no, they're not. So yeah, chapter 1, Della Sali. I don't know what that means. And then 2, The Wife and the Mistress. 3, Delicate Christina. Yeah, and you've got the cast. Don't think I've seen anything from the cast before. But then again, like I said, I've only recently really gotten into French films. Obviously, there's been the few that most people have seen, but, in terms of Jean-Pierre Melville and Classe de Risque that I recently got from BFI. Just recently been getting into them. So, yeah, it's got write-up in it. It's got pictures from the film. The write-up is by Terence Rafferty, and it's called Murder Considered as One of the Fine Arts. And yeah, some films do make murder like a fine art, especially when it comes to the planning and then the eventual execution. And yeah, it's got about the transfer as usual. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing this. But like so many films I own, I've still yet to see them. I think I'm on nearly 50 now that I own that I have yet to see. But, you know, I want them because I'm interested in them. And if I don't like them, I don't like them. But most cases, when I do buy a film as a blind buy, I end up actually liking them. So, yeah, really pleased to have finally bumped up my Criterion collection. Because, yeah, at only 15, it was a little bit on the slim side. Obviously, that has been bumped up in the last year or so with Written on the Wind and It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. And I think I got Mildred Pierce and Deep Cover and La Samurai a few months before those. So, yeah, but this is definitely the biggest Criterion haul that I've had ever since I started buying from them, to be honest. And I know 6 doesn't seems like a lot. Like I said, 2 for 30, so, you know, you do the math. So, yeah, that's 30, 60, 120 quid. So, yeah, they are quite expensive even when on sale. So that's the main reason that puts me off buying from them. But I know people that buy them by the truckload and just buy everything from them. But that's not something that I really partake in. Yeah, as you probably know from my collection, even though I've got a peculiar taste, I do have a taste, and whether or not that film is going to fit into that taste is a whole different matter. And I know some people might say, branch your horizons, look outside of your usual sort of lot, but I am very particular about what I do and don't like, and that might seem a bit odd, but that's just the way it is. But I'm hardly, you know, collecting just one film genre. Just from these 6, you've got different genres. You've got your thrillers, your comedies, your film noirs, you know, your monster creature films, and yeah, I just think that's, you know, it's just the way it is. Some people's collections are going to be different to others, and that's just the way it is at the end of the day. And yeah, in collecting news in general on my part, my more basic Blu-rays, you know, the cheap stuff you get from CEX or, you know, just from HMV, you know, the normal kind of standard releases are slowly being whittled down because I have finally got something to store them all in. So yeah, this will hold 120 Blu-rays, and as you can see, I have started to do so. So yeah, these are all the basic stuff. I'm never going to put anything from my boutique labels in there or anything like that, but the more basic Blu-rays are going to be going in there. Now, granted, it only takes 120, but 120 will free up a lot of space. I only have about 65 in there so far, and I've already made up quite a lot of room on my lesser shelves over there. My boutique labels mainly are on here, but I have moved a few of the boutique labels onto the older shelf. 101 Films, Signal 1, the 2 from Shameless Entertainment Network, and some of my 4Ks as well, just to free up some space here, because our video and Second Sight are going to be expanding in the next few months by quite a lot. You know, you got Dog Soldiers, you got The Hitcher coming from Second Sight, and our video probably got a lot more on the go as well. So yeah, it's all about just making as much room as possible. And granted, there's only so many standard Blu-rays I have that I can make room for by removing them out of the case. But it's at the end of the day making some extra space and giving me some more time to eventually get more shelving, which, you know, is a real cost when it comes to collecting, because this shelving was about £100, and then these two over here probably about 50, 60 quid each. So yeah, it's definitely an expense that needs to be taken into account when collecting. But yeah, nonetheless, thanks for watching. Sorry, a bit of waffle there, but just thought I'd update you on how the Blu-ray collecting in general is going, especially since I did show you off my entire collection, which has now changed in somewhat. But yeah, nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.